The blue light is pulsing with activity from the center of the earth. The center of the earth is just bulging with blue light, and kind of like a capacitor that's got a full charge, sending that electrical charge wherever it is needed. So I've talked about the Arctic Circle before, but when I ask the blue beings of light, all right, where is the next area on our earth for humanity that's extremely significant right now that you want me to talk about? And they gave the name, I don't even know if I can say it, but it's Yakutsk, Russia. So it's in the eastern part of Russia. I will spell how it is spelled out. It's Yakutsk. So I invite you all to look it up, but they really pinpointed that area and showed a huge blue area. It wasn't like a perfect circle, but it was definitely a very large area of eastern Russia. So as you can imagine, it sent me down a rabbit hole, so I'm going to take you down the rabbit hole with me. But if you've never heard of me before, my name is Nancy Rebecca. I am a psychic clairvoyant. My passion's been the human energy field because I am a registered nurse as well. But if I were to say my even bigger passion, it's about how the frequencies going on around us, whether it's in the earth or whether it's from the stars, impacts the human energy field. So if you really think about the earth, let's say the earth is like an energy field, let's say it's like a human energy field, how are frequencies impacting us in that way? So let's just jump right into it. I was just like, what and whoa and what? So I'm hoping that you'll get what I'm talking about, because I was totally getting it, but I don't know if I can translate that into words. So I'm really encouraging all of you to help me with this. So one of the big things that I'm like, okay, so why is this? I'm going to call it Yakutsk, Russia. I'm just going to call it Yakutsk, Russia. Why Yakutsk, Russia? So when I really tuned into the energy there, it was almost like this kind of mushiness, like if you were to, it's kind of like wet sod kind. So it was very mushy. It seemed very kind of alive with life activity is what it felt like. There was this robustness of creative energy that was surging through. There was definitely this blue light that was coming up through that whole area. I guess just the biggest way I can describe it is it just felt so alive. So I will go from there. So then I went to trusty Wikipedia. I typed in Yakutsk, Russia, to find out that what Yakutsk, Russia is very well known for is that there is it's called the Lena Pillars Nature Park. It is on the list of, what is that word? When like they say that the pyramids is, anyway, where it's listed as one of the top places to visit in the world. And so I did a little bit deeper dive and found out that the town or the city of Yakutsk, which is actually a very big city, is quite well known for its creativity. It has a lot of playhouses. It puts on a lot of plays. It has a lot of very rich music and, I don't know, creating music, creating plays, creating art. There's a lot of creativity in the area. So I was really excited to find that out because that's what I could really feel was happening. Now remember, this blue light surge that's coming through the earth, that information that I've been getting is it's going to go to areas where it helps promote stabilization. It kind of promotes kind of balance and harmony. So I was kind of curious about if this area, if it needed some sort of balancing and harmonizing. So then the information that came up, so there may be a lot of you out there who totally understand what this is. I had never heard of it personally. So it's called the Cambrian Period, Cambrian, the Cambrian Period. During the Cambrian Period, so this is this deep dive I'm going to do, there was it's called, in the Cambrian Period, was an intense burst of an evolutionary process that went on in the earth. All right, so isn't that kind of what we're going through right now? We're going through this evolutionary process of change that feels extremely rapid. So it was the fastest, most incredible, diverse growth of life more than any other period that has existed on the earth. I mean, that's kind of mind-blowing, right? So here we have this blue light that's coming in. So the theory was that the oxygen level really went up on the earth. So they're talking about this Cambrian period was between 541 million years ago to 485 million years ago. So let's just say there was a 50 million year period of time. I know that doesn't sound very fast, does it? But I mean, look at how we've been evolving. It feels like we wish it could go faster. But anyway, it was all of a sudden what happened was there were the creatures, little worms that had no vertebrae, invertebrates. So they had no vertebrae before the Cambrian period, no vertebrae. Something happened on the earth. There was a big rapid shift of evolutionary change, and then all of a sudden vertebrates came to the earth. So all of a sudden on the earth had been no trees, no nothing. Now all of a sudden there's vegetation, tropical environments are being created. Like it used to just be nothing. Like most of the earth was water, and it was just like little insects and creatures that had no vertebrae in them, no bones. And then suddenly after this period, there was this big surge during the period of creative evolutionary change. So anyway, I found that very exciting. And is that the only place in Yakutsk, Russia that it happened? No, when I looked it up, it looks like there's several points, even in the United States and in other countries, where that really came up to the earth and there was rapid change. So anyway, I was super excited about this. But let me move on, because I'm even more excited about the other thing that I discovered. So there was this rich flood of blue light. It was radiating about 100 miles, and now it's much larger, like 1,000 miles. So I started looking at this a couple of weeks ago. Also to find out that there's so much permafrost in that area, creating this really nice, rich earth. So let's see. The earth witnessed a lot of changes during this period to include new life forms, which I've already talked about. I've already talked about the creativity that happened. And so then I was asking the star people, again, why this area is significant. So I meditated, I used my clairvoyance, I really tuned in, and then this happened. I saw these giant silvery beings, star beings, giant. And I would say the blue star beings can be anywhere from 8 feet to 12 feet, maybe 20 feet tall, but these giants were like 30 feet, 40 feet tall. They were almost, they have kind of these mesas in Yakutsk, Russia. I mean, they were almost as tall or even taller than some of these kind of mesa areas where the permafrost is. So now my mind is just like, it's like, I don't even know what kind of beings these are. I've never heard anybody talk about what kind of beings these are. But they were these large, silvery, white star people, very tall, not sure where they come from. I didn't even know how they described themselves. Like, are you Sirian? Are you Pleiadian? Are you Arcturians? Are you Lyrans? Like, who are you? And it turns out that they are Polarians from the North Star Polaris. It was just like, what? Wow. So have any of you ever heard of Polarians? I had never heard of them before. So they that definitely came to Earth as large giants. And they come to Earth for a lot of really good reasons. And they're here on Earth to help us for many, many good reasons. So I tapped in, I communicated. So I didn't communicate directly with them, although I did kind of fly over there in my astral body. I kept a distance. I did notice a few of them kind of turned and looked in my direction. They were a little surprised that I was there. A little startled. So I just really moved back and chose to just kind of project my clairvoyant sight to look at it in that way. So then I was asking my higher self, and I was asking the blue star beings if they could explain a little bit more about the Polaris star beings. So I did do some research to find out that the North Star is completely aligned with the North Pole that's in the Arctic Circle. So I did another video about the Arctic Circle. There's something going on up there in those really cold places. I made a note. I was like, okay, Greenland, Iceland, Russia, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Northern Canada, and Alaska. What's going on up there? So some really big stuff. And I would never have expected this big of stuff to be happening there. All right. So it's aligned with the North Pole, the Northern Star. So I'll go there. The soul, the energetics that are really connected with Polaris, they're very kind of slow moving. They even when they went to kind of turn to look at me, it's almost like they moved like this, and then they made a connection. They seem to be very kind of slow moving. I don't know if they're coming through people here on the Earth. So I'll invite anybody to tap in and put a comment in the comment section. So the North Star aligns with the North Pole in the Arctic, helps us to find our own inner North Star. They are slow moving, they love balance, and they love harmony. And so this is the main work that they're doing in that area. They're helping the whole Arctic area is bringing a large balance and harmony to the Earth. Now, when I asked why, not that should be obvious, right? That we need balance and harmony, but it's bigger than that. It's like we're going to be really experiencing, a big, if they called it kind of this burst of evolutionary acceleration, we're going to experience another burst of that. I don't have a lot of information about that yet, but I will. And so they're bringing balance and harmony to the Earth to help us support us when we go through this. They're very much unity consciousness. They like to work within a group. The Syrians are very much like that as well. They like to work within a group. They're more about unity consciousness. They like to find common ground with each other. So that's one of the things they can influence us, that even if we share a difference in politics, if we live in different parts of our own communities, we have different interests, we can still find common ground with each other. And so Polarians are really helping us to do that. They're very, very, very inclusive. And again, I've already said, they love stability. They also want to make sure that there's this filter that the change is right, and I think that's what they're here to really teach us, is that discernment. Like, we all want to be enlightened by Friday, but is that right for us? Should we be moving that quickly? And so there's that sense, that feeling that I have from them. It's like, it's okay to slow down a little bit, even though everything else is accelerating. And it's okay to contemplate and discern our next step. So I really liked that. They've got a really calming energy, almost like gentle giants. But this is one of the things that also really excited me, is that they're very connected to animals. And what was being described to me is that the animals on our planet, all animals, are going through an elevation of consciousness where they're going to be able to communicate with us better. We're going to be able to communicate with them better, even if it's just through telepathy. But we're going to feel a greater support from the animals, and animals around the world are going to be feeling a greater sense of support from us. It's going to be less, we will be less able to hurt or harm animals when our consciousness connection is highly connected to their consciousness. So the other information, polar bears came through quite strongly. And then there are other northern animals that you all might mention in the comment section that are also have a significance. So I didn't go through the animals to check them out, but I'm just being told highly significant. And there's a large communication that's happening all over the world as they let them know, yeah, change is coming, but balance and harmony is coming as well. Same with nature and consciousness. It's all of a sudden, we might not have noticed animals, we might not have noticed nature, and then suddenly we have a hunger to unify and connect with nature and with animals. So that's a big, big thing. So in your meditations, you may start seeing more spirit animals coming through. Polarians, very grounded. They don't move fast. So when I saw them 30 to 40 feet tall, and like I said, just to make the decision to turn, it wasn't very fast. So Polaris and the Polarians, they're all about balance. So it's like balancing the poles in the earth. They were, when I was watching them, in that area of Yakutsk, Russia. The grid work there looked really solid, and it was almost like this silvery light was traveling across the grid. It's mostly in the upper part of our Earth, so that's why I did a little shout out to those countries up there. So if any of you do grid work up there, you may notice that some of the grids are getting a little bit stronger, more fortified. They may be changing in color. You may be called upon to ask more to do the grid work. There's also in the permafrost up there, there was a sense that I had, I don't have a lot of information about this, but there was a sense that there's a big portal opening way, 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 way deep, like 200 miles deep underneath the permafrost. So you've heard me kind of talk about even traveling under the water through a portal to get to outer space. It sounds fantastical, but I'm seeing something similar in this area as well. Whew, I could keep going. I'm super excited about this. I love learning new things, and I'm not as hesitant as I was in 2017 when the blue beings of light came in. So the Polarians have beautiful, beautiful, enormous hearts. So what they kind of remind me of is I used to live in South Africa, and so I was learning about African animals there. And the one thing that I didn't know is that giraffes have the largest heart of any mammal in the world. Now, I could be wrong. I had a guide who shared that story with me, so I took it as gospel truth. You are very welcome to correct me. But they were talking about in the chest of the giraffe, and if you've ever looked at the giraffe, they've got a big chest to hold their enormous heart. But this is the cool thing that you maybe didn't know about giraffes, is that let's say that a male giraffe there aren't enough female giraffes around in their herd, and they need to go to another herd. That they can just walk into another herd, and it would be like, Here, I'm grabbing a plate, sit down, we got plenty of food, we welcome you in. That's very different than many herds of animals. There will be that competition. If you're from somewhere else, they usually don't let you in. But they say giraffes are very different that way. They're one of the only kind of groups of animals that will accept anybody in from another herd and adopt them instantly as if they've always been there. Why do I share that story? Because the Polarians have that same sort of energy. They have these enormous unifying hearts, all-inclusive hearts. Sit down at my table, I'll make you a plate of food, hearts. So I don't see a lot of Polarians outside that area right now. Again, I don't know everything, but I'm really curious. And I'm excited about the vibration and the frequency. Like I said, it's quite silvery that's being added to the blue light. So there's earth changes. They're very connected to the earth. We've been having a lot of unsettledness in our weather patterns. But they're up there in that cold, cold part of the world, really making a big difference and working on our behalf. So have fun after you watch this video. Have fun and go look up the Cambrian period. I had to say, could you put it in like simple language for me? And I didn't watch any videos on it or anything, but that's something that you can do. You can look up Polarians. You can look up Polaris, the North Star, and see where that is, and meditate on all of it, because these are exciting times that we're living in. So thanks again for tuning in so long, and hang in there with me. Subscribe, click the bell, because I will be tuning in and finding out where's the next place that the blue star beings wish for me to talk about, where these blue light surges are coming through the earth. All right, take care, everyone. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.